Good morning, Mother Sorrows School. This is Father Daniel Lishney from St. John's in Delmont and St. Mary's in Export. I hope that you are doing well today. I was thinking of you all and praying for keeping you in my prayers today because this morning I was supposed to celebrate Mass with you at Mother of Sorrows. I'm very sad that we're not able to be together, but I thought that I would give you this little message to let you know that I'm thinking of and praying for you. I hope that you are staying safe and connected to your faith during this time. The message of our Mass this morning was going to be a victory over the world, which is our faith. We know that our faith gives us a lot of hope, especially in times that are hard, like right now. Do you ever like a good story, or maybe have a favorite movie? I bet that oftentimes in a good story or a movie, there's a battle between good and evil that takes place. Sometimes it's an evil from without, like a scary villain. Other times, it's something from within that the character has to overcome to beat the enemy. Well, we know that sometimes it's both. We know that in life, in Easter, we celebrate Easter, which is the victory of Jesus over sin and death. That his resurrection, his coming back to life, he has conquered the greatest enemy, which is death and sin. And he helps us to do that in our lives as well. The reading at our Mass this morning was going to talk about how the love of God and his victory can be at the center of our lives too, with service, with little ways that we can help and love one another. Can you think of a way that maybe you've been helping at home during this time of quarantine? Today, we also in the church celebrate a very special saint. His name is Saint George. Maybe you've heard of him. Saint George is very famous. He was a martyr. We talked about what that meant. He was someone who gave his life for Jesus. He was a witness to the love of God. He was from Cappadocia, which is in Turkey, and he died in the 2nd or 3rd century in Palestine, not far from where Jesus lived. And he was a real historical person. St. George has been very popular for a long time all over the world, in the Christian East and in the Christian West, and even Muslim people honor him as a prophet. St. George is the patron saint of England and Malta and the country of Georgia, as well as Ethiopia and other places, and also of soldiers and of Scouts. I was a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout, and so I always had a particular like for St. George. Maybe some of you are in Scouts. There are many stories about St. George, but the most famous one, and if you look up an image, a picture of him on the internet, you'll see he's probably slaying a dragon. It comes from a story that came around much later after his death. But at any rate, it's a story of heroism, of willingness to sacrifice himself, to put himself in danger, to help other people. I think that we probably have lots of examples of that kind of sacrifice that's going on in our world today. Can you think of anyone who's living like that right now? I think especially of our doctors and nurses, our healthcare officials, and other people on the front lines. We can keep them in our prayers and ask God to help them, just like he helped St. George to do something courageous. And may you also be courageous in the way that you love God and that you help one another during this challenging time. I miss seeing you and ask God's blessings to be with you. Happy Easter and peace be with you.